Okay, good evening everyone. We'd like to discuss tonight some halachas of specifically Birkas Hamazon, different situations of safek or errors in Birkas Hamazon, whether a person's yotze or not, and what's the way of rectifying it, and some related halachas. So we know that the obligation to bench, to say Birkas Hamazon when a person eats bread is a chiyuv d'oraisa, at least if he ate kedei sevia. The pasuk says in Parshas Eikev, v'yochalta, v'savata, v'irachta, that if you eat and you're saveh or you're satiated, then v'irachta, then you have a mitzvah to bench, to say Birkas Hamazon. If a person ate bread but did not eat kedei sevia, he didn't eat to the point where he's satiated, he still has a chiyuv to bench, but that chiyuv is the rabbanan. And that starts with a gazayis. Even if he ate just a gazayis of lechem, then he already has a chiyuv to bench, as we said, midrabanan. So the question arises, what does one do if one ate bread and one is uncertain if they benched? They can't quite remember if they said Birkas Hamazon or didn't say Birkas Hamazon. So typically by most other brachas, almost all other brachas are midrabanan, they're not minat Torah. We know that Birkas HaTorah, the bracha on learning Torah, is a shaila in the poskim. Mr. Bro discusses it at the beginning of Siman Mem Zayin, whether that's a chiyuv d'oraisa or not. But typical brachas on food, brachas on mitzvos, brachas hashachar, etc., brachas hadah, those are dinim d'rabanan. So typically the rule is safek brachas lahakel. If you're not certain if you said a bracha, you didn't say a bracha, then you don't say it. We look for ways to try to get out of the safek. Meaning, if you're, let's say you're not sure if you made a bracha on food, so you should best, if possible, do something that will obligate you in a new bracha for sure. Like we discussed some time ago, the halachas of shinui makom. So you could, if you make a shinui makom, go out to a place where you'd be obligated, even if you did make a bracha, you'd be obligated now to make a new bracha. So do that. So this way, you're not sure. I'm not sure if I made a bracha, but okay, if I do a shinui makom, then regardless, even if I made a bracha, the bracha is no longer valid. I hadn't even a new bracha. So that's one possibility. Or if there's somebody else who could be motzi you with the bracha, or there are different. We look for different ways. We also discussed not that long ago the possibility of saying the bracha with the what's that? Vayvarech David, right? Saying the psukim in Vayvarech David as Hashem, until you get the same Shem Malchus and then finish the bracha. We also spoke about whether it's possible to be yotzi with half a bracha. Somebody else is making a different bracha. There's nobody there willing to make a bari pre-eitz for you, but there's somebody who's about to make a bracha on his tefillin. So he says Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, and he goes on with Asher Kedushan V'Slav Son Lech Tefillin, and you say bari pre-eitz. We spoke about that, and Jewish Rabbi Kiveger, and whether that can be done or not. Okay, so you look for ways to try to be mechayiv yourself, but at the end of the day, if you can't be mechayiv yourself, if you can't alleviate the suffix and come up with an eitzah to remove the suffix, we say safek brachas lahakel. You don't say a bracha when you're not sure. So if you're not sure, you ate dinner, you ate a nice fleischer meal with meat and side dishes, and you enjoyed a nice drink, etc., and you're not sure if you said bari nefashos, so safek brachas lahakel. Okay, so if you can, eat something else now to be mechayiv yourself in a bari nefashos. But if you can't, or if you're safek brachas lahakel. But when it comes to benching, we said benching is a chiyuv d'oraisa, at least in the case when you were soideya, when you were satiated by the bread. So the question is, then, what should you do if you're not sure if you ate? If you're not sure if you benched, you definitely ate. You're not sure if you benched. So what is the halacha? So the halacha is in that case that if it's if you're saveya, you have to bench. You're not sure if you bench or not. Here the safek you have to bench because it's a chiyuv d'oraisa. Benching is a chiyuv d'oraisa when you saveya. You're not sure if you're yosei chiyuv d'oraisa, so you have to do it. You have to go ahead and bench Birkas Hamazon, at least for a man. We'll speak about the halacha of a woman later, if it's whether there might be some difference. But yes.
If a person eats kasait and forgets if he bench, Does he has to bench?
No. So if he ate a kazayis, only kazayis, and he's not saveya, this is because today's svia is relative. Some people are saveya and much less than others. But let's say he ate only kazayis, definitely not saveya. He had one kazayis bread. Kidei achilas pras within the requisite amount of time that he's chayiv to bench, but with the rabbanon, and he's not chayiv. He's not sure if he benched or not. Then it's like any other suffix brachos that he does not bench. But it would be the best thing would be to go ahead, wash again, say hamotzi, and eat another kazayis, and then bench. Because then for sure you'll be yotzei the first. You'll alleviate the first suffix. Because even if a person ate 2 meals, but within the amount of time that he ate the second meal, within the amount of time that the first meal is still not nisachal b'meyav, it's not digested, so that it's within the amount of time he can still bench on the first meal. You only have to bench once, right? You ate, even if you ate 2 totally separate meals, like a person ate a meal and he completely forgot to bench, and then he decided and he ate again. And then he's about to bench. He says, I never ate the bench the first time. So he doesn't bench twice. You only bench once. And it covers everything. So that would be the best thing to do. If you ate a kazayis and you're not sure if you benched, so go ahead, wash again. You have to wash again. Once you definitely may see das from eating, right? You definitely didn't plan on eating more. You may have even benched. You're not sure, right? You're not sure you benched. So obviously you had finished eating. So to eat more bread, you have to wash again. You have to make a bracha al netilas shadayim. Pshuto, you don't. If it was right away, you wouldn't make a bracha until shadayim. But if you got your hand, if you was or sometime later, or you were no longer paying attention to your hands, or if you got your hands dirty, if you're sure, then even if it's right away, but you got your hands dirty, then you would bench. You would make a bracha until shadayim on the washing. There are times that it's even recommended to do that, to get your hands dirty just very quickly. Let's say some people daven shachris and then they go straight to breakfast. It could be like, let's say in yeshiva, where breakfast is right there in the building. You just walk into the next room, or be here sometimes when they're serving breakfast here for whatever the occasion is, and you finish davening, go straight to breakfast. So there's a question: could you make a bracha on Netilas Shadayim? You know your hands are clean. You wash your hands for davening. So wouldn't
you be forcing a situation to do netilat if you do that?
Would you have to do it Netilas?
No. You are not forcing the beracha. Like you didn't have the obligation to wash.
Well,
you're already clean. Now you're forcing yourself into a beracha.
Right. Except you can't eat without just on al smach the original netila before davening. You definitely have to wash again before eating. So in cases like that, it's sometimes advised to specifically get your hands, mitame your hands. There's a shaila by the seder, right? By the seder, you sat down and your hands definitely are clean, and not only were they clean, but you even washed them once for karpas, and then you're sitting the whole time at the seder. You're not going anywhere, not doing anything. You're being osik in the Haggadah. You obviously keep your hands clean because you have to be able to say the Haggadah. And then, okay, you get past the Haggadah. Now it's you get past Magid. Now you're up to Motzi Masa. So you go to wash. Everybody knows from the Seder Asiman, the way the children say it. First the Netilah without a bracha, second Netilah is with a bracha. But how can you make a bracha in the second Netilah? Your hands are all clean. So I believe it's the Mishnah Berurah that discusses it there in Hilchot Pesach, Mishnah Berurah, that to be matame your hands, because you need to wash your hands. You do need to wash before eating bread, or in this case matzah, but to do so to make a bracha without first making sure that your hands are dirty is at least questionable. So I believe some brother-in-law of mine once asked, if I remember correctly, once discussed this with Rabbi Yashiv, and Rabbi Yashiv wanted to say a svara, or I don't know if it's just a svara saying halamaisa, that you don't have to be matame your hands, because it's also it's good for part of the seder. Part of the seder is that at this point we wash with the bracha. So even if just like even those who don't wash normally for davar shetibula b'mashke, if you eat a wet fruit, not everybody washes during the course of the year. Not everybody washes their hands. It's brought to wash your hands without a bracha on a wet food, and that you eat with your hand. Normally eat with your hand, but the summer knowing not to make a bracha the rest of the year. But on Pesach night, obviously not to make a bracha. I'm sorry. Some are knowing not to wash altogether. Some don't wash. Even those who wash don't make a bracha. But some don't wash for davar shtibul mashka. But Pesach night, you do wash. That's part of the Seder. It's part of the Seder. So Rashi was telling that here, washing with a bracha, at Motzi Matzah, washing with a bracha is part of the Seder. You don't have to get your hands dirty. It's part of the Seder to make a bracha that in Tila. So they told me this. You remember this from years ago.
I'm confused how it would work. Let's say someone came home from work and they went to the kitchen. They just want to eat whatever's in the kitchen. So it's like stam das. They just have whatever's in the kitchen. They eat and they start eating. And they like shahakal. And they forgot in the middle. They just they ate, and then months later they just forgot and they learned flushes. So they wouldn't be able to make another shahakal because maybe their das is still they're still there because they're not they das whatever's in the kitchen to eat.
Yeah, but did they forgot they made burning flushes?
Right. That's considered a hesed thing.
Well, I'm saying that means they must have finished eating and planned on being totally done. To the point where they may even have said a burning flushes. So if you may have said a burning flushes, that sounds like you at least weren't planning on eating anymore.
But it's a suffix, so you can't make a bracha.
Why? Why can't you make a shot? If you miss, let's say you definitely miss that's from eating, right? Let's say the person said finished eating. They said I have to make a burning flushes. Picks up the bencher and he's flipping for the page, and then this bencher doesn't have burning flushes. I don't know this. So then he ends up walking away without doing it, right? And so if he wants to eat again, does he have to make a shackle?
In that case, I think it's more clear that he's missing a lot. But I'm talking about a case in general where a person is.
But if what I'm saying is if he's at a point where he says he might have even made a bracha achrona, so unless he does, I can't remember if I meant to make one and made one, or I never even made to make one and I was just in the middle of eating.
No, I don't remember. So
he's got to get a little bit more focused. If he's like, I would think most of the cases that if you're not sure if you made a bracha achrona, means that you definitely didn't plan on eating anything more, to the point where you were intended to make a bracha achrona. I'm just not sure if I actually took the final step and did it. If you really have something about that, so then you have to try to look for the one of the other races of Shini Makom or something. Okay, so getting back here, so he says, so if you ate only a kazayas, you're not satiated, you don't bench, but best to wash again and make a motzi. For sure, you have to make a motzi and bench and eat a kazayas and bench again. But if you ate a kedei sviya, then you definitely have to bench. So when you bench, so how much benching do you say? What's the shadow? Well, why are you benching misafik? Let's say you ate a kedei sviya, right? You satiated. You're not sure if you benched? Go ahead and bench. Why? It's a chiyuv d'oraisa. Is the entire benching chiyuv d'oraisa? No, not the entire benching. The benching consists of 4 brachas, besides the harachmans at the end, but there are 4 brachas. There's a bracha which ends with hazon sakol, second nod l'cha which ends with alaretz l'mazon, third one ends with bardi brach magishalayim, and then the 4th bracha is hakel, hatov ha'meitiv. 4 brachas. The first 3 are min haTorah. First 3 brachas are midoraisa. So that for sure you have to say. But what about the last bracha? From after bride bracha bonei baracham of Yerushalayim amen, you've completed the chiyuv d'oraisa. If that's the rabbanan, so we say sabei rabbanan l'kula. That bracha you shouldn't have to say. So Bishper says no. Once you have to bench misafek, you bench the entire thing. So you shouldn't come to me mizalzel. You shouldn't mistreat or the last bracha, or disregard it, or treat it as a second class, and come to maybe not even say it sometimes when you're definitely chayiv. Or consider it. It's not that important. Look, I wasn't sure, so they told me, okay, say the first 3 brachas, and you don't even have to quote unquote bother with the 4th bracha. So in order that you don't develop that attitude and come to be mizalzel in it, lamaisa, so you say all 4 brachas. Okay, say all 4 brachas. Now, what happens if like this? We know normally if you're about to bench. Let's say there's somebody else, you ate and you didn't bench it, you're going to bench. And there's someone else there who doesn't know how to bench. He also ate, but he doesn't know how to bench. He's unlearned. Maybe something you might have guests at your table for Shabbos who you're being Makariv to Yiddishkeit. They don't know how to bench it, but they're interested and they're. So you could be motzi them. Right? You could be motzi. You tell them, okay, I'll bench. You listen, just concentrate at least on what I'm saying, and have in mind to be yotzei, and they'll be yotzei. That's it. If they know how to bench themselves, they're supposed to bench themselves. But let's say they don't, so you can be motzi them. So what happens if we have a situation like that? I'm not sure if I benched or not. And there's another person there who ate, he for sure didn't bench, but he doesn't know how to bench. Could I be motzi him when I'm benching misafek?
Yeah.
Okay, you like the shaila and you don't like the shaila. What are you saying?
Saying like a kiddush, it's a people.
But that's where I'm definitely chayav.
Even if you already make kiddush.
Oh, so you're okay. Very good. So you're saying by kiddush, even if I was yotzi already, I could repeat kiddush and be motzi someone else who needs to be yotzi, right? So you're saying, what's the difference if I'm chayav or benching or not? I could. So in other words, what you're saying, even if I know I did bench, I for sure benched. Or let's say I haven't eaten 4 hours, and there's somebody else who just ate, and he doesn't know how to bench. So I say, no problem, I'll take a bencher and bench and be motzi. That's what you're saying?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. You're making it over wine. You're making it over anything. You're just benching. You didn't eat anything else.
Well, what do you mean making over wine? But wine only needs a very perguffin. Wine doesn't need a shar kedushan usav v'etzavanu v'shavas kain. So yeah, that's what you're saying. You're saying what you're saying is the concept of arvus, right? The concept of arvus that the kol yisrael arevim zelazeh. I'm responsible for your mitzvahs. Every Jew is responsible for the mitzvahs of another Jew. To see that just like I'm responsible to see that I do a mitzvah, when I'm obligated, I'm responsible to see that the next Jew does a mitzvah also when he's obligated. And since I'm responsible for him, I could be motzi him if he can't, especially if he can't do it. Sometimes even if he could do it, but certainly if he can't do it, then I'm able to make kiddush for him. So you're asking the same thing should be true by benching anyway. Okay, but the fact is it's really not true by benching. Because by benching, there's a drasha of yachalta v'savata u'virachta. Misha achal hu yavarich. There's a drasha in the Gemara that you only should bench if you ate.
So it's on the body, it's on the person itself.
Say it.
It's on the person itself, like on the person's side.
Yeah, well, or that you can't. I can't just bench. I can't bench if I didn't eat. So if I can't bench if I didn't eat, so the question is okay. But now I may have eaten. I mean, I definitely ate. I'm just not sure if I benched or not. I definitely ate. I'm not sure if I benched. So I may be chayiv in benching still. If I'm chayiv in benching, no problem. I can be motzi. But if I'm not chayiv in benching, if I benched already, and then I realize there's somebody else there who doesn't know how to bench, I say, oh, so sorry, I can't help you now. The only way I can help you now is by eating again. If I really want to do it, wash again and eat a kazayis and then bench and help it. But I can't just bench. I benched already. So here, I don't know if I benched. So, and I have to bench. The din is I have to bench. We just said, I ate Kedei Sfiyah, misafek, I have to bench. So is that enough that once I have to bench, I can be motzi you, or is it not enough?
In the case that a person is going to eat again, just to be sure, and he's already full, so he has to eat kasai, like eating a piece, and get him, he's already full.
But he has to eat kazayis. You can't bench unless it's kazayis.
Even that he's full.
V'achalta, you need v'achalta. B'savata. Achila ain't achila pachas mikazayis. Less than kazayis is not called v'achalta. So, what you're touching on though is another very good shaila. Let's say I eat less than a kazayis of bread, but I eat other food. I have a nice portion of steak and potatoes. So I ate like half a kazayis of bread, but I feel that I'm very satiated. So I had, so there do we say still, no, sorry, there was no achila pas, or no, could you bench? And that's a separate shaila. Okay. But in this case, if he's washing again, he's going to eat bread just to bench for someone else. He should definitely eat a kazayis of bread. Now I'm assuming. I mean, the halach is assuming that it's not a point of achila gasa. If he's so full that that's it, he's reached his limits, and any eating now would be achila gasa that he can't do. You're not allowed to eat achila gasa. You don't make a bracha on achila gasa. I mean, you can't. Right? It's the case Yom Kippur. How could a person eat? Mamish sit down and eat a kazayas or more in Yom Kippur when he's totally pater. Okay, so he just it's just Yom Kippur just began. He just short while ago he just ate a nice full meal, and he's to the point of that's it, reached his limits. Any more is achila gasa, and then Yom Kippur starts and he eats. He eats kazayas. It's not chai for eating. It's not called achila. It's achila gasa, not achila. Okay, side point. But so getting back, so I want to know, the Shaila want to know, and it's not my Shaila, it's Rabbi Kiveger's Shaila. Rabbi Kiveger discusses the Shaila. Kiveger in the Tshuva was really asked, I think it's Siman Vav in the first Chelik, was asked about a person who's benching misafek like this, and there's another person there who also has a suffix. They both forgot. They both forgot if they benched or not. So could one person who is not sure, could he be motzi another person who's not sure? But Rabbi Kiveger in there, he gets into the Shaila about, even let's say the other guy is sure. Could I be motzi? So he brings a Pri Chadash who says, Pri Chadash is one of the great Svardish Goyim. The Pri Chadash says that it depends what you hold. Meaning, it depends what you hold on the din of Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra. Why are you benching? Why are you benching? I may have benched already. I ate Kadesi, I'm satiated, but I was obligated to bench, but I think I may have benched. If I did bench, I don't have to bench. Why are we saying no? You must bench. You're not sure. You must bench. Why? Because Safek D'Oraisa, Safek Din Torah L'Chumra, right? You at least had 5 minutes ago. You had a Chi of D'Oraisa, Mitzvah D'Oraisa, an obligation to bench. You're not sure if you fulfilled that obligation, right? If you dispensed with that obligation, were you poter yourself a day benching, or were you not? You can't remember. You don't know. So if you don't know, so we have a Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra, right?
Obligated.
What you're obligated, Misafek, right? Misafek. So what is the nature of Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra? Is Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra, is that min Torah? Does the Torah obligate a person who has a Safek? You're not sure if you took a little of an esrog? You have to. So does the Torah say? Then you have to pick it up. You picked up a little of an esrog. You're not sure if it might have been puzzle. You're not sure. There's a Safek Murkov. It's the only thing you had. So we say, oh, Safek D'Oraisa. If you can get a hold of another esrog, you should take another esrog. Pick up another esrog. Is that a din a chi of D'Oraisa? Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra, is that a din D'Oraisa? Is that min Torah L'Chumra? Or is that only midrabanan? Is it that, no, min Torah, you're only chayiv in the mitzvah if you're chayiv in the mitzvah for sure. But if you're not for sure chayiv in the mitzvah, it's only a safek, then you're pater. And midrabanan, they said you have to do it. The Rabbanan said you have to do it, right? Again, it's this big yeshiva right, Shivish Chakira, or not like Shivish Chakira, it's a Machlokes Rishonim, but it comes up in the learning of Shivish Masechtas, in the world of yeshivas. The din of Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra, Safek D'Oraisa that you have to do it, is that a D'Oraisa? Is that a D'Oraisa? Is that a din Torah? Or is that a din D'Rabbanan? Right? Is it that the Torah says no? Torah says, the first side is the Torah says, yeah, you have to do the mitzvah, whether you're definitely obligated, or even if you might be obligated, even if it's Safek obligated, the Torah says you have to. You can't walk away. You can't leave the scene with the Safek. You got to resolve the Safek by doing it. Or is it the Torah says no? You don't have to. You only have to do a mitzvah if it's a shor chiv. If it's not, you don't have to. The Rabbanan came along and said no. You have to. So that's the Machlokes Rishonim. Famous Shitas Rashba. Let's call it Machlokes Rashba and Rambam. The Rashba holds Safek D'Oraisa L'Chumra min Torah. You have a Safek. You got to go do it. And the Rambam, you got to do it min Torah. And the Rambam says no. Safek D'Oraisa min Torah is L'Kula, and maybe the Rabbanan is L'Chumra. So what is the Rambam hold in the regular case of Safek D'Oraisa? He knows that Safek D'Oraisa is min Torah Yipater, and the Rabbanan Yichayev. Right, min Torah Yipater, but mit Rabbanan they will mechayev you. That's why if we just before you get back to bench, you take it one more step. According to we know there's a rule fake sveka is l'kula, right? When you have a double suffix, even by D'Oraisa, but double suffix. First of all, let's say first of all, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I ate something and I was planning on benching, and I'm not sure if I did or not. But I'm not even sure if what I ate was something I have to bench on in the first place. I'm not sure if what I ate was bread that requires birchas hamazon. Maybe it was a potato bread with no flour in it and tasted very good. Tastes like regular bread, but it might have been potato bread. And even if it was potato bread, I might have benched. I don't know why you probably shouldn't have benched if you thought it might be potato bread. But afterwards, let's say, okay, to give a case, person didn't realize after he ate and thinks he may have benched, he then found out that that might not have been bread altogether. And it can't be mavar for sure. So he has a double suffix. Was I chayiv to bench in the first place? And even if I was chayiv, maybe I did bench. So sveka is a complex. Whether that one qualifies or not, I'm not taking responsibility right now. But sveka is lakula, a double suffix, right? So according to the Rambam, it's pashut. Why? According to the Rambam, even when you have one suffix, the Torah holds your pater, right? It's only the Rabbanan hold your chayiv. So that means, so now when I'm not sure if I'm chayiv misafik or not. So now it's only a suffix in the Rabbanan, right? In other words, again, if I ate this bread, I found out later.
So it would be l'kula.
Right. In other words, I ate this bread, and I'm not sure if it was real bread, and so I'm not sure if I have to bench or not. So that's according to Rambam, only midorabanan I should bench. But then I'm not sure, it might not have been bread in the first place, or whichever suffix I said. I'm not sure I bet. I have the other suffix. So now the other suffix, now I have a suffix. I had a derabanan chiyuv to bench mi suffix, and now I have a suffix on that derabanan chiyuv, so it's a suffix derabanan lakula. Every sveika becomes a suffix. It's one suffix in a din Torah is midorai is chayav al midorabanan. So then the second suffix is a suffix derabanan. That's why they're according to the Rambam. That's why sveika is put. In any case. Rewinding, so we have a machlokas, Rashba, and the Rambam. So the Pri Chadash says, well, that's what it depends. When we told this fella here, he's not sure if he bench. We told him bench. He asked the rabbi, he asked the Rav, should I bench? He told him, he says you must bench. Is he chayiv midoraisa or rabbanan? If he's chayiv midoraisa, then he can be motzi the other guy who's sitting over there who definitely ate and definitely didn't bench, but he doesn't know how to bench. So he's chayiv deraisa. So if his suffix deraisa is chayiv min haTorah, then I'm also chayiv min haTorah. So I'm chayiv min haTorah and he's chayiv min haTorah, so I can be motzi him. But if suffix deraisa is only chayiv midorabanan, so true I have to bench me suffix, but that's only midorabanan. Midoraisa I don't have to bench. Midoraisa I can just walk away from the scene. It's only midorabanan that I have to bench now be suffix. He has to bench midoraisa. So a person who's chayiv only midorabanan cannot be motzi. A person who's chayiv midoraisa. That's what the Pri Chadash says. Right?
In a regular bracha, let's say let's say that and each one has a suffix. It's a suffix, right? And that's a suffix derabanan.
A regular bracha?
Yeah.
Suffix derabanan. You have to, and we say don't do it. Suffix derabanan l'kula. Suffix bracha is laka.
Is that like the Rabbanan would say that you should make the bracha, but since it's the Rabbanan made that bracha before, we're not going to make use of the bracha. Is that what that means? Yeah. Since the Rabbanan,
you may since you don't have a vadei chiyuv, the whole chiyuv is the Rabbanan, even when it's vadei, and now it's not vadei, so it's only a suffix in the Rabbanan, and the bracha I can't take a chance. It's not big bracha is laka. Okay, so the Pri Chadash says, so if the guy who's chayiv misafik is, if suffix deraisa, like the Rashba that suffix deraisa is chayiv min haTorah, so this person has a suffix deraisa in the bench. I was chayiv to bench min deraisa. I don't know if I did or not. Suffix deraisa is l'churma min haTorah. So if I'm chayiv min haTorah, I could be motzi the next guy there who is also chayiv min haTorah. But if it like the Rambam that suffix deraisa is only chayiv min Rabbanan, so I'm a bench. So I only have chayiv min Rabbanan to bench. Misafik, he has a chiv deraisa to the bench because he definitely didn't bench it, so I can't be motzi. That's what the Pri Chadash says. Says Rabbi Kiva Eger, I disagree. I don't think that's correct. Kiva Eger writes that according to everybody you could be motzi. Even according to the Rambam you could be motzi. Why is that? Because of what you touched on before. Because really this is a din of arvus. Min haTorah, I should be able to bench even if I didn't eat at all. I should be able to bench for you, right? The person sitting there, he doesn't know how to bench. He has to bench. I walk in. He said, "Can you do me a favor and bench for me? I don't know how to bench." I didn't eat, so I consult with the Torah scholars. I mean, Torah, it doesn't make a difference if I eat or not. Just like I can make kiddush for him. I'm not chayiv in kiddush right now, but I can make kiddush for him. Because I'm a yid who's chayiv in the mitzvah in general. I'm chayiv in the mitzvah in general. He's chayiv in the mitzvah. So even though I'm not chayiv right now, I can do it for him. It's only me the Rabbanan, says Rabbi Kiva Eger, that the Rabbanan said, no, Misha, that drush that I said before, V'achalta v'savata, v'rachta, Misha achal, hu yivarech, that don't bench unless you ate. So it's not like other mitzvahs where I could do it. It's like Kiddush where I could do it even if I'm not chayiv. Benching, I can't do it. L'maisa, I can't do it if I didn't eat, even to be motzi someone else. That's the Rabbanan, says Rabbi Kiva Eger. So min haTorah, I have to bench, and I could be motzi, even according to the Rambam, that suffix bracha, that suffix deraisa is min haTorah is lakula. So my chiyuv to bench is only deraisa, is only derabanan. If I may have benched already, right? I may have benched already. So my chiyuv to bench right now is only derabanan. But I'm allowed to bench min haTorah and be motzi you. That's min haTorah. I have arvus. I'm already for your mitzvahs. I'm responsible for your mitzvahs. You don't know what to bench, so I have a mitzvah deraisa and it's called a chiyuv deraisa to bench for you. It's the Rabbanan who said, no, halt. If you didn't eat, don't bench. Only one who ate should bench. If you didn't eat, don't bench, even to be mostly someone else. That's a din to Rabbanan. So for that din, but here I do have to bench because I have a suffix that I ate and I may not have benched. So I do have a chiyuv to bench now, right? So even according to the Rabbanan, that my chiyuv to bench is only the Rabbanan, but since there's a mitzvah deraisa of arvus, and it's only a Rabbanan that stops my arvus from working here, from my ability to bench for you, because I may not have eaten, or since the last time if I benched and I didn't eat since I benched. So nevertheless, on that Rabbanan, he could be makel and be motzi with me. And there's on that Rabbanan that says that there's no arvus, and when it comes to benching, you can't bench for somebody else unless you ate. But here I have a shayla, I may have eaten. So that's only a din d'Rabbanan, and so on that d'Rabbanan we can be mekel, and I can be motziim. So Rabbi Kiva Paskins that if there's somebody else there who's chayiv in benching, and I'm chayiv to bench me safek because I may or may not have benched already, I can be motzi.
But if someone didn't eat for sure that we couldn't be motzi.
No, if someone didn't eat,
right?
Well, there's nothing to be motzi. No, I mean someone who didn't eat can't be motzi. Someone who did eat, that's right. Someone who for sure didn't eat or did eat but for sure benched cannot bench again, who cannot bench to be able to see someone who ate.
And if both people were suffix, what was the...
Both people are suffix, so, well, for sure, according to Rabbi Kiva, even if he's vadai, I'm suffix, he's vadai, I can be motzi him. Certainly if I'm suffix and he's only suffix, then for sure,
Well, if he's suffix also, then maybe he doesn't have it.
So he's no worse because he's suffix. If he be vadai chayiv to bench, I can be motzi him. So if he's only a suffix chayiv to bench,
because maybe then you can't apply the arvos, maybe because it's not really chayiv to bench, and therefore you can't really say.
But if he's chayiv, then it's arvos. If he's not chayiv, then he's pater. I mean,
but it's a suffix. That's why you don't know if you can apply that.
what does that mean? But I have to bench now, right? I have to bench for sure. I have to bench for sure. And so one second. So we say
it's a suffix.
Right. Okay. No, but I have a chiyuv. The mice have a chiyuv to bench. Was the rice the rabbanan have a chiyuv to bench be suffix, right? Suffix the rice l'chomer. Whether it's the rice the rabbanan suffix is l'chomer. So I have to bench. I have to bench. And once I have to bench, I should be able. Once I'm benching, I should be able to meet the Torah. I can be motzi him. The rabbanan said no, but don't be motzi him if you didn't bench. So since you may not have, if you didn't eat, rather. So since you may not be chayim, I may not have eaten. So it's a shaila. It's a shaila whether I can meet the rabbanan. So shaila can be motzi him. So for that shaila, so if you keep egging, you can be mekel. So if he's not even sure, so that's even if he's sure, even if he's surely chayiv. If he's only suffik chayiv, so he's saying, well, if he's not for sure chayiv, then it's not for sure arvis. Okay, but the tzad that there's no arvis is only because he's not chayiv. So then fine, if he's not chayiv, he's not chayiv. There's no tzad that he's chayiv, but there's no.
There's chayiv and there's no arvis.
Right, no additional tzad. There's only one tzad, yeah, because the tzad that maybe I benched already, but that Rabbi Kiva said already could be mekel on. So there's no additional suffix. The fact that he may have benched also, he's only suffix. That doesn't make the arvis. It only makes the arvis weaker by making his chiyuv weaker. So to the extent that he's chayiv, there'll be arvis. Okay, so that's Rabbi Kiva's psak that I could be motzi the person who's vadei chayiv. Okay, now we said we mentioned the chiluk when it comes to the din of a woman. So let's do that. If a woman ate, had a male, she ate, she satiated, does she have to bench? We have one yes. Any other opinions? Okay, so we have yes, machlokes. Any other opinions? Nobody's going to say no, right? Okay. No, the truth is, of course, she has to bench. It's machlokes if it's minat Torah or midrabanan. If a man ate, Pasuk says, "V'yachalta v'savata v'rachta." Yes, a man for sure is chayiv to bench midraisa if he ate kedei svia. If a woman ate even kedei svia, the Gemara in Maseches Brachos, it's a suffix in the Gemara in Maseches Brachos, a shaila in the Gemara if a woman has to bench min haTorah or not, and it's unresolved. Ibayid lifshta. What's the shaila? Why not? It's not a mitzvah that says zman grama, right? I mean, it's not zman grama. It's linked to zman. Just if she ate, she has to bench whatever the zman is. So we know it's a mishnah Maseches Kedusha in the first parak. Kol mitzvah say eina zman grama echad nashim chayavim. So why? What's the shaila? The shaila is there's a shaila. What the shaila is? Which brings two possibilities. Because part of benching you have to mention in the second bracha we mentioned eretz, right? We make a bracha even ala eretz ala mazon. So women who don't have a chelik in the land. The land was nischalik only to the men, not to the women, right? So since the women don't have a chelik in Eretz Yisrael, as a shayla, they might not be chayiv to bench minat Torah. Could be benching is only a chayiv from people who are shaykh to Allah, Al Shem Chaltel, I was saying, Eretz Chem, the Teva Yechav, that they're part of it, they have a chelik in the arts. That's one side of the Shaila.
By that they mean people that inherited when they split the land.
Right, but well, males get a chelik in land, right? The male got a chelik in land, not females, not women. So therefore, so it's Kuf Pei Vav, right? Kuf Pei Vav. Noshim chayv Birkat Hamazon. V'safek hu mechayv is Madaraisa, or only chayv Rabban. So the Mishnah Berurah says one reason v'noshim ein lam chelik ba'aretz mitzad atzman. He said imlo b'basi oresh, so we know it's tzlafchad, it's daughters, we know that, but typically women don't have a chelik. Or second part. By the way, you'll say, well, what about Kohanim and Levim? They also don't get a chelik in the land. Maybe Kohen and Levi doesn't have the bench. So he says, no, they have the Ari Migrash, right? They have Ayin Parshas.
Angelim.
What you want to say again? Matas or Masa? Ayin Parshas Masa, right? What about Gerim? Very good question. So Gerim says that they're Chayiv min Torah because some say because they became part of Klal Yisrael. They took on like a full status of Klal Yisrael, full status of the men in Klal Yisrael. I mean, male Gerim, female Gerim, of course, is not going to be stronger than a female born Jewish. But and some say a different story because I saw a different story. But Gerim, they said that what I saw, I have to bench Minater. Okay, but women don't have to bench, women not. Or the other svar is because they're not bebris v'Torah. We also say. Women are don't have the mitzvah bris milah, and they're not chayiv b'lim Torah, not chayiv in Talmud Torah. So since they're not chayiv in these mitzvahs, which are integral parts, you must mention these and mention these parts. You must thank Hashem for bris and Torah that you have a chelik in Birkat Hamazon. Therefore, that's one shot why the Gemara is mesupik. So the Gemara leaves it as a suffix. The Gemara is mesupik if the women are chayiv in Torah, or is only the Rabban. They rather have the bench, but it could be is only that the Rabban are chayiv in the bench, not chayiv in Torah. So therefore, and that's the lashon of Shulchan Aruch. It's a suffix. Are they chayiv in the Raisa umotzias as ha'anashim, or are they not chayiv only with the Rabban and the eino motzias elo lemishei chiyuva with the Rabban? Meaning, for sure, if a woman ate, let's just make it simple. A woman ate until she was satiated, and a man ate a kazayas only, and he's not satiated, but he ate a kazayas, then a woman can be mostly a man. Because her chayiv is at least, he's only chayiv midrabanan, and she's chayiv at least midrabanan, right? She's chayiv at least midrabanan, and he's only chayiv midrabanan because he only ate a kazayas and he's not satiated, so then she can be mostly him. But if he ate kedei svia, even if she did as well, she can't be motzi him because it's a suffix. Okay, so now what about herself? She has a suffix. She ate and she's not sure if she benched. So it should come out that she should not have to bench, just like we said by a man. If a man only ate a kazayas, he's not chayav to bench. We recommended that he.
This can be safek or
again. Sorry?
On the woman that didn't know if she benched, can this be safek? We have the doubt that she benched, and we also have the doubt that it's from the right.
Right, but she's definitely chayav midrabanan, at least normally if she ate. So. Okay, so that's what we're saying. On the surface, that's what we say. Safi Draban. L'kula. That's what we'd say on the surface. But not so much. Mishnah Berurah brings down, first of all, the Birkat says there are many Rishonim that hold women are chayiv midaraisa. L'maisa, even though the Gemara leaves it as an ibad lifshta, there are the way we have the many Rishonim that do hold a woman is chayiv midaraisa. And in addition, the Mishnah Berurah says, he brings in so where was it in Kuf Pei Gimel? Sorry, 1 second here. Should be Kuf Pei Vav, right? Should be Kuf Pei Vav. Kuf Pei Vav, Sivkat and Gimel. Yeah, he brings from the Shar Ephraim that he doesn't say what the reason is, but he brings to Shar Ephraim that Isha Sha'acha Kedei Sviyam and Istapkin Bercha Chayev is Levarich. And the Chayis can be Chayadim, Uvmagin Gibar. He brings a number of Achronim who say that if a woman is a suffix, whether she benched or not, she has to bench. She has to bench. Brings others to say not like this. Rabbi Kiveger and the Birkat Yosef say no. But Lamaisa, the Mishnah Berurah's psak is that one who wishes to rely on the Shar Ephraim, on those who say that she should bench, Ein Limchos Biyado, and in the which is once again in the Birkat uses the lashon of Lo Hifsid, Hamavarich Lo Hifsid, and I saw it brought down from Shlomo Zalman that he says this is what they should be told to do, to bench. Of course, the best eitzah would be to wash again, and eat a kazayis and bench then. That would be the best eitzah. But otherwise, there's we have the Mishnah Berurah and another saying that it's not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing for her to bench. So could she be motzi a man? Okay, so what should come out? I mean, a man who's chayiv to bench for sure. Is that what you're asking?
No, someone who can't, a man who can't bench.
Right, but he's vadei chayiv. So if he's vadei chayiv in a Torah, for sure she can't be motzi. Even in the best case scenario, even if she's chayiv for sure, even if she ate and didn't bench for sure, we said she can't be motzi a man who's chayiv midaraisa, right? Because it's a suffix if she's chayiv midaraisa. So certainly if she's might have even benched. Right. The shadow would be a man who's only chayiv midrabanan.
If she's selling the rice according to the Rashi, why not? What something the rice says there is the rice.
So what you're saying is that it should be a suffix deraisa. Is she chayiv or not? So why don't we say that she could be motzi a man? According to the Chuvas Rabbi Kiveger and Sivan Vav. According to Shuvas Rabbi Kiveger, that a person is benching misafik could be motzi. So there we said, well, why could it be motzi? Because he definitely has to bench. Right. Okay. The answer l'chora is because by a woman there isn't, or at least it's not pushed that there's arvus from a woman to a man, that a woman is arei for a man's mitzvahs. The whole Rabbi Kiveger is based on arvus, right? We said the man who was benching misafik has a mitzvah of arvus, but by a woman it's not so pushed. If she's vadei chayiv in the mitzvah, but if she did the mitzvah already, then it's not pasha. If she's chayiv in the mitzvah, but here we're not sure if she's chayiv in the mitzvah, and on the side that she's not chayiv, there's no arvus. But Kiveger was saying by the man, even if he's not chayiv, but midaraisa is still arvus. But by the woman, that's not so pasha. Okay, so again, the question would be though, if a man ate only a kazayis, and he's only chayiv midarabanan, and the woman's benching now misafik. The woman's benching now misafik. So we don't have that element of arvus. So she's safek if she's chayiv altogether. So even if she's a safek if she's chayiv altogether. If she might have benched. If she might have benched, she's a safek but she's chayiv altogether. And we don't even know if it's a suffix deraisa. It could be she's vadei pati b'deraisa. So l'chara she should not be motzi a man. Even a man who's a suffix. Is that right? Let's see. Yeah. Right. Also, so the Dirshu I jotted down. The Dirshu brings from Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg that also there's a difference by a man who in the case by a man, who ate, he was vadei chayiv to bench. We're just not sure. Maybe he pated his chayiv. He vadei chayiv and a suffix. But here by the woman, it's a suffix. There's a suffix chayiv altogether. Suffix she's chayiv in the first place.
According to the Rambam, she shouldn't say again because it's fake. And this is the Rabbanan.
So that was the chiddush of the Shar Ephraim, that he says even according to the Rishon and the Seishon Chayav Rabbanan, she does bench misafik. He doesn't say why, but the Mishnah Berurah on the Shar Ephraim and others that say that she does bench misafik. Besides the fact he says many Rishonim don't hold that she's chayav in a Torah. Okay, so the bottom line is that she would not be motzi man though in the case where she has a suffix. Okay, Shikar, thank you very much.